I'm doing good. I'm at Chicago O'Hare Airport. I'm in the Hudson News because there's no quiet place at the O'Hare Airport, and I have no membership to any airline club.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what? You know what you should do now is you should charge it to NBC 10 Philadelphia and tell them that you needed to do that to do a quiet interview in the Red Carpet Club in United. So, John, you need me to send you a school note for permission to charge the Red Carpet Club to NBC 10 here?
All right, we'll get going. I know you're doing a lot
it's
of
quite
these.
a backdrop with travel snacks and Skittles and licorice and everything like that. Lifesavers, yeah, nerds,
Yes,
whatever.
if you want a travel pillow, I can pick one up
Yeah,
for you.
thank you, thank you. I would
You
think
got
that you should be giving your guests gifts like that. So anyway.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Takeoff with John Clark, presented by Makefield Putters. And let's bring in a very, very special guest, the preeminent newsbreaker in the NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter. Welcome.
John, nice to be with you in O'Hare Airport today.
Hey, Adam, it's rough getting back from Green Bay to Philadelphia, as you know.
Oh, I know. Better you than me. I'm glad I didn't have to make that trip last night.
Now, I think your guys, Jason Kelsey, Ryan Clark, Dan Orlovsky, all those guys, I bet you they were private. They're probably in their beds by 3 a.m., but this is how we roll at NBC.
Well, John, I would hope that for all your years in the Philadelphia market, that maybe you would have forged a relationship with Jason, that he could have given you a ride home on his PJ. Like, that's what I would have hoped for you last night. But obviously, you and he might not be as tight as you should be, and that's why you're at the O'Hare Airport right now.
Sources say we are not tight. That confirms it. But Adam, I want to start you off because you're doing a great thing. American Diabetes Month. You're doing a great job raising awareness. I want to ask you a couple questions about the Eagles, but my favorite question is my good buddy Jason Stark. I asked him who your favorite follow is on Twitter when you saw that notification come in, and he said Jerry Seinfeld. So I want to ask you, Adam Schefter, notification that came in that somebody's following you. What is your favorite one of all time?
Wow. Honestly, I've never even paid much attention to it.
Oh,
So
come on.
I'm being honest with you. There's nobody that, like, I guess back in the day when I started out, like, you'd see some people following you. You're like, wow, this person follows me. Wow. But I really haven't had that in a while. So I couldn't give you a name. The other day we had all these veterans in for Veterans Day, which was very cool. And today is Veterans Day, and it meant a lot to have 150 service members in the audience for Sunday NFL Countdown. And afterwards, Stevie Van Zandt sent out a tweet that he was watching and how cool it was for Sunday Countdown to honor all these veterans. And he tagged Mike Greenberg, not me. He tagged Mike Greenberg, but it was pretty cool to know that somebody like that is watching Sunday Countdown.
That's very cool. Well, I appreciate your follow on Twitter. That means a lot to me. Much appreciated. What do you think about the Eagles now? All they do is win, Adam Schefter. And I know everybody says, hey, they only scored 10 points. The defense played great. But are they the best team in the NFL once again this year?
No, I'm not going to say they're the best team in the NFL right now, but they're putting themselves in a position where they need to be to have a chance to prove that they're the best team in the NFL. The NFC is loaded this year, John. The Rams are really good. Seattle's really good. I think Tampa's good. The Eagles are good. Who am I missing? Detroit is really good.
Right, yeah.
And you played Detroit this week. So I think the NFC is very top heavy this year, top heavier than it's been in any recent year. So I couldn't say that the Eagles are the best team in the league today. I think they are one of the best teams. I think they'll have a chance to prove that they're the best team, but I'm not ready to give them that title yet. You can give it to them, but I'm not there yet.
And just like last year, they're facing all the tough teams. I mean, you go on the road, you beat Kansas City. They just won in Green Bay. They won in Tampa Bay.
Right.
And they're going to wind up facing 5 of the 6 teams right behind them in the NFC. They beat the Rams at home. You've got the Lions coming in. So if they get through all that, would you say they're the best team in the NFL?
Yeah, I'm still not going to go there. They're going to have to prove it to me in the postseason. Again, they were the best team in the league last year. They have a chance to be the best team in the league this year. I don't get hung up on who's the best team in the league in Week 11. I just don't. If you want me to crown them right now, as Denny Green would say, you want to crown their you know what? I'll crown their you know what. Okay, they're the best team. That make you feel better? Okay, but it doesn't mean anything. They go out and lose to the Lions on Sunday night, and I'm taking back that crown, John.
Good point. Now, it's interesting because you make the trades that Howie made, and Vic Fangio had the number one defense in the NFL last year, and now he is armed with Jaelan Phillips. He's got Nolan Smith back. You got Brandon Graham, the linebackers, the secondary. Do you think this defense, with the additions, could round into one of the best, if not the best, in the NFL once again?
Well, I think that they've improved their team. That's the most important thing. They knew that they had holes to address, and they were aggressive before the deadline. The great part is, even for all they gave up to go get Jaelan Phillips and Michael Carter and Jair Alexander, they still are scheduled to have 8 picks in the 2026 NFL draft, one more than the 7 rounds. So they haven't given up too much to where they're crippled, and the draft pick surplus is in the early parts of the rounds. They have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. So they're in a great spot, and they've upgraded their roster. And so Howie Roseman and the front office have done exactly what they should be doing at this time of the year.
You break all the news. You broke the story of Jaelan Phillips going from the Dolphins to the Eagles. Now, 3rd-round draft pick. It's going to be late in the 3rd round. I know he's got the injury history. It's an expiring contract. But I ask you, Adam, weren't there other teams who were vying for Jaelan Phillips? How did Howie pull this off?
Well, there are a lot of other teams. Howie stepped up and offered more than the other teams were willing to offer. There were a lot of teams that were interested in Jaelan Phillips. But I think Howie recognized that even though he knew that Jaelan Phillips could be a rental, he knew the kind of player he was getting, and he was able to basically walk down the hall and talk to Vic Fangio about the kind of player he was getting and what he would do and how he would fit into the Eagles defense. And I think they decided that it was worth the risk. And even if he leaves after this season, well, then you get a compensatory draft pick back in 2027. So you're essentially leasing Jaelan Phillips for a year before you have to get back a draft pick. And there really wasn't a lot of downside to it. And for the Eagles, that was a great move to make, and they were able to pull it off.
Do you think Jaelan Phillips is a guy Howie Roseman will re-sign? Like, do you think he's envisioning bringing him back, getting a new deal with him?
Well, I think, John, I think he's open to that. I don't know that he can say right now that that's how he's planning, because there are so many other players that they have to pay. They're going to have to pay Quinyon Mitchell. They're going to have to pay Cooper DeJean. They're going to have to pay Jalen Carter. They have to pay all these players. And there's only so many you can pay. If Jaelan Phillips turns into a stud player, a little bit like Zach Bond last year, maybe they weren't planning on paying Zach Bond after the year, but they did, right? So let's see how the year unfolds. I'm sure they're open to that possibility, but it's kind of wait and see right now.
All right, and I apologize for any noise behind me, boarding calls, but don't worry, I'm not going to miss my flight. You broke another story. The Cowboys, a poison pill in trade, Micah Parsons to the Packers. Adam, how rare is that, and how much are the Eagles in Jerry Jones and the Cowboys' heads with the Super Bowls they've won and not wanting Micah to wind up with the Eagles? How long does that go on for, by the way?
Well, I believe that clause was put in there because of the Eagles' interest in Micah Parsons last summer. I think Jerry Jones knew that Philadelphia would love to try to find a way to trade for Micah Parsons. And so the Cowboys put a clause in the trade papers that says if the Packers decide to trade Micah Parsons to the Eagles by the end of 2026, they then would owe the Dallas Cowboys an additional first-round draft pick in 2028. And so the league has a database of draft picks, and there were asterisks next to the Cowboys and Packers first-round draft picks in 2028. And the Packers did the same thing, or the Cowboys did the same thing for Kenny Clark. Cowboys are not allowed to trade him in the NFC East, or they'd have to give the Packers a first-round draft pick in 2028. I think they just did it to mirror what the Packers are doing with Micah Parsons. But yeah, I think that's the Philadelphia Eagles clause that says we're not going to be able to trade Micah to the Eagles anytime before 2026. Not that they would have anyway, but that sort of cements it.
I think Eagle fans love to hear that, how much the Cowboys are worrying about the Eagles. And obviously Howie wanted to get a pass rusher. Myles Garrett, do you think he would have been the guy that Howie went after if the Browns traded him?
No, the Cleveland Browns were not going to trade Myles Garrett. He was off limits. There were enough teams that called about him. Cleveland was not trading him.
You think that's a possibility for the future with Howie and the Eagles?
Anything in the future is always a possibility with Howie Roseman.
Hey, I'm John Clark, and we are here in Bensalem, PA at Makefield Putters. And I got to tell you,
we want to thank them for being our new sponsors of the Takeoff podcast. And I've got putting issues when I get out there. I'm 6'5", and I had to get a custom putter. When I got this custom putter here, it changed my putting game. You know, when it's wintertime and we go get jackets, different size people need different size jackets. Well, we got to get a custom putter for our size, our type of swing and everything. They break it all down for you. They build up the putter from scratch. They have all the data, the analytics, the statistics to get you to be a good putter. And when I came here to make field putters and I started to use my custom putter, I got to tell you, I make it with Makefield. So next time you're on the course with Makefield putters, go birdies. Now about Howie Roseman, I'm looking at the other GMs, and they're all in the Hall of Fame who have won multiple Super Bowls with different head coach, different quarterback. The roster building that has gone on. I mean, my goodness, 3 years ago they're in the Super Bowl, and then they are able to draft Jaelan Carter. The way he's able to build this roster, and then the defense is arguably the youngest in the NFL. Is he the best in the NFL right now at building a roster?
Oh, to me, he is. He's proven with the way that he attacks free agency, the trade deadline. He's always on the prowl. He's always thinking outside the box. He's always finding a way to get an edge. There have been some GMs that have joked, when the phone rings and it's Howie, they don't want to pick up because they know that something is going to be a little bit off here. And yeah, it's a credit to what he did. He takes his job very seriously. It's very important to him. It's always mattered to him. This is exactly what he wanted to do as a boy growing up in New Jersey. He's seeing through his childhood dreams, and he has become as good as any front office executive, I would say, not just in football, but in sports, the way he's attacked this. He's done a great job, and he's become a huge asset for the Eagles organization.
When you're watching that game last night and Devontae Smith comes up with the touchdown and the huge third down catch, he's one of the most clutch receivers in the NFL now. In fact, he is right at the top as far as catching percentage. I think he's 30th in targets, and yet he's 12th in receiving yards. Can we put Devontae Smith in that upper echelon now of guys for the contested catches, especially when he's up there, 50-50 balls and contested catches?
Well, I didn't know that he wasn't in there. I would just say this, that the times that I've been around the team, maybe their favorite guy on that team, in that organization, is Devontae Smith. I think he's got as much, if not more, respect than any player in that locker room. They believe in what he's made of. He produces on the field, the way he carries himself. He is an immensely respected player within that locker room.
And get back to Howie. You guys on ESPN last night, I think you called him the trade father, the godfather, the trade father. Yeah. 98 trades over the last 9 years, second in the NFL. Now, one of them that he made, Jair Alexander, it's kind of an interesting situation because he practiced all week, and he said his knee, he told me personally, his knee is the best it has felt, but then the Eagles held him out, coach's decision. They want to make sure they get a plan with the knee. Is the knee really the issue for him this year coming off that knee surgery? I know he had it drained a couple times in Baltimore.
That's what the team said. I just think the fact that he didn't go was interesting. It was curious. I think there's going to be more that comes out there eventually. Like, why didn't he make it? I thought he was going to play last night. I think they thought eventually he was tracking to play, and then it didn't make the trip. So I don't have the answers yet, but I think obviously there'll be more that comes out of the organization this week about that, whether or not he can make it back this week to play against the Lions.
Yeah, you're right. Speaking of that matchup, Eagles coming off a Monday night game in Green Bay, short week against the Lions. I read your article about Dan Campbell now taking over play calling duty.
Yeah.
So how challenging is this Lions offense now, putting up 500 plus yards, and the way Jared Goff was able to distribute the football and getting the ball to his stars?
Well, they're one of the best teams in the league, and that's why I was not ready to anoint the Eagles as the best team that you said, because the Lions are there, because there are other teams that are really playing at a high level. The two teams get a huge matchup on Sunday night. The winner of this game will have a leg up on the other in terms of where a potential future playoff matchup might be. And I think the Lions are playing at a high level. When Dan Campbell's calling that offense, as he should be, as he took over on Sunday, clearly, I think they operate at a higher level. He makes the most use of his weapons, and that makes the Lions that much more dangerous.
Adam, famously, you broke the the Chip Kelly trade of LaShawn McCoy, right? And
Yeah.
and that's a famous story now. I think you got a car ride out of it for the rest of your life, right?
That's very good, John. Yeah, that was the last time that I actually drove to Bristol. I was in a snowstorm driving, got the call, had to drive over like on the side of the highway in a snowstorm to follow the story that the Eagles were trading LaShawn McCoy. I tried to call Chip, and he didn't get back. He was speaking at a temple that night, and all these live trucks showed up at the temple. I think there have never been more live trucks outside of temple after that trade when he traded LaShawn McCoy for Kiko Alonso, the linebacker. And yes, your memory is correct and your information is good. And I can confirm that was the last time that I ever drove in Bristol. Yes.
And I tell you, you're a smart guy for saying like, hey, I had to pull over on the side of the road. I could have gotten it out quicker. If I have a car service, then okay, that news would have been out, a couple minutes earlier.
Yeah, that's what happened. It was actually, there's a guy, I have a friend that drives me. I pay him to drive me. He happened to take a vacation. It was like in mid-February, and we thought, well, nothing's going to happen in mid-February. And it turned out to be a snowstorm, and it turned out to be a big trade. And it all happened on the same night as I was trying to drive back from Bristol.
Is there any other wild story that you've broken with the Eagles that you remember the circumstance where you were and you see the message come into you and you're like, you're in a wild place, a strange place, and you're in the bathroom, something like that?
Donovan McNabb, Easter night, coming home from Easter dinner with my in-laws, and got a call as I was near my house driving home, raced home to get that story out that the Eagles were trading Donovan McNabb to the Washington football franchise. So, yes, I remember that one as well.
That was wild. And you're doing a great thing this month, Adam. It is American Diabetes Month. And type 1 diabetes, You're raising awareness. Your wife lives with type 1 diabetes, right? How important is it for everybody to be aware and go out and make sure you get tested or check up with your doctor?
Well, thank you for asking, John. I appreciate that. And we're having the conversation during American Diabetes Month, which is an important time to educate around the importance of early detection for type 1 diabetes. My wife, Shari, she's type 1. I've seen what it's like for her to manage the disease, and it's why I've partnered with Sanofi to raise awareness around the importance of screening for type 1 diabetes. As my wife knows all too well, an unexpected T1D diagnosis can have serious impacts. T1D can't be prevented, but you can prepare for it. And the way to prepare for it is to screen for it. And the way to screen for it is to visit with your doctor, make a plan, visit screen4type1.com to learn more about T1D, talk to your doctor about it. But yet, in American Diabetes Month, I know we're coming off the NFL trade deadline earlier this month, but the American Diabetes Month, more important to me than the NFL trade deadline, and it's why I want people to be screened for T1D.
That is a great, great message. And I caught you guys on ESPN talking about the MVP. And last year, of course, Saquon Barkley arguably could have been the MVP. He was the most outstanding offensive player. But once again, this year, Jonathan Taylor, do you think the NFL needs to rework it at all? Because it really is a quarterback award.
It is a quarterback, but there's an NFL Offensive Player of the Year, and the player can win the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, but the MVP typically has been a quarterback award. You're the MVP for doing this from Chicago O'Hare Airport today, John.
Did you hear a couple flights boarding right now?
Yes, I did. I think your flight's boarding, and I actually have to get on to the next interview as well.
Oh, I like how you work that, Adam Schefter. And because I'm doing this interview in the airport, I think I'm going to work my company getting me into that American Airlines nice suite up there, just like you work that car service. So I'm learning from your game.
Yeah, the NBC 10 should be taking care of John Clark. He should not be doing these interviews in an airport kiosk. They should be done in the privacy and comfort of the Red Carpet Club there in O'Hare.
Well, thank you so much, Adam Schefter. I appreciate you putting in the good word with my bosses, and keep up the awesome work breaking all the news in the NFL. We look forward to seeing you all season, and great message during American Diabetes Month. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me today, John.